Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Murray Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from the edge of the Great Red Divide. And Murray, today we're going to talk about all the things to look forward to in 2020.
And what we can do to make 2020 an amazing year for everyone.
That's right. There's so many things to talk about. So where would you like to start, Murray?
I want to talk about the upcoming Senate race.
Those are really exciting because we have a lot of seats in play.
As we move forward, whether or not Herr Führer gets impeached, whether or not he gets removed, whether or not he wins the next election, it is going to be imperative that we win the Senate. More important than anything else.
Hold the House.
And win the Senate.
Right.
And in order to win the Senate, we need to pick up
3 seats.
3 seats.
And we can't lose any. So I want to talk about some of my favorite ones that I'd like to see go.
There are 7 vulnerable senators right now.
Yes.
And what we define as vulnerable are senators whose approval ratings have dropped, whose Trump's approval rating has dropped, who
have made really stupid decisions for their state and for their country.
And
they need to go.
Happy, or that the demographics of the state have changed since the last election.
The gerrymandering rules have changed, so they might not be able to.
This is a whole new year.
Yes. For especially somebody like Susan Collins, who they lost their gerrymandering and they went to
ranked choice.
Ooh.
Susan Collins is probably one of the most exciting Senate races to watch because it's ranked choice voting, which means as many people can run from any party, and people go to the ballot box and you pick, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You put your order of preference and you go all the way down.
She may not even primary through.
She may not. So this is what's so exciting.
Yeah.
Is that right now she's bowling in third behind 2 very strong Democrats, including one former state's attorney.
Right.
So she's won a statewide race, and there's 2 amazing women running, and we're going to go into depth in that in another show.
Right.
But the interesting part is, come their primary, we could have 2 Democrats running against each other for that
It's going to be a win-win solution.
So if those 2 can win first and second and move on, we're guaranteed Maine Susan is gone.
Susan Collins has been such a huge disappointment. And again, we'll talk about that in another.
Always been, everyone looks to her repetitively as being this voice of reason, this middle of the road. But if you look at her voting record,
she never has been. People confuse her with her predecessor, Olympia Snowe. Who was that person? Who was that person who voted for the betterment of her country, not her party? Susan Collins is the kind of person that says anything she wants, but always votes party lines. Always, always, always can be counted on as a Republican vote for the good or the detriment of our country.
And everyone can see that by looking at the last 3 years alone.
And you know who else is like that? Joni Ernst from Iowa. Oh my God, what a disaster for Iowa Joni Ernst has been. And she needs to go. From her failure in the ethanol, the ethanol companies, the ethanol plants out there, her failure to represent farmers, which Iowa is a huge corn producer. Joni Ernst has left Iowa in a lurch over and over again. Talk about trying to operate above your pay grade. That's Joni Ernst.
You are right. And she was not vulnerable up until the last year.
Well,
and I think
it's her failure. Yeah, her failure
on
on the tariffs and ethanol and corn producers. Huge.
Iowa is going blue. I swear to you. Between Heidi and all the amazing people that she's met through Southwest Iowa Democrats.
Oh my gosh.
And her tour. And between all of the Des Moines, Simpson, Ames, Northern Iowa folks.
Davenport touches Illinois. We're starting to rub off.
Even young, there were kids who were hardcore Republicans. I have nephews who are in their 23 to 20 range. And all their buddies, good, big, close group of friends. And there were several of them who were Republican, Trumpers. This is the way it is. And I've watched over the last 3 years as they have changed. They have moved towards supporting unions. They have moved away from Trump. They don't even these redneck Iowa boys, sorry, Sam, I'm looking at you. even these boys
Yeah.
have seen the detriment that's happening due to these policies. Their eyes are open. Now, all of their significant others happen to be Democrats. That may help too. But.
Well, that helps. And Iowa had, epic flooding this year along the Missouri
I
on the
know.
western part. And that is climate change. And the farmers out there are feeling the pinch from every which direction. So, Joni Ernst, kiss it goodbye, honey. And let's talk about let's talk a little bit about John Corwin from Texas.
Yeah, so Texas is in play. And as we've seen over the last several cycles, I would say that we've seen Texas, even Austin and San Antonio have always been progressive.
Right.
But when you're looking, they've flipped Houston, areas in Houston that they wouldn't expect, Dallas.
Right.
The entire state is moving far more
Blue.
liberal, far more blue.
Well, and a lot of the issues in Texas, besides the tariff issues, which of course affects every growing state, is the issues on immigration because it's affected to their workforce and their taxing base.
Border wall is actually an issue that's really alienating farmers, ranchers, landowners down there.
That eminent domain clause is in Texas is them's fighting words in Texas.
It's a touchy subject. So that is between the changing demographic and the move toward blue. I think with the issues, you're going to see Texas really, really
also
possible.
Strongly impacted by climate change, and they need to see Texas needs a focus that's going to bring them forward as we become less dependent on oil. When Texas was the oil giant of the United States, and they no longer are. They needed to prove themselves. They needed to stand on those Republican, I'll air quote this, values. Now Texas is moving away from being an energy producer and into other areas, and they need to be able to see the future. And the future is not bright under Republican leadership.
So one of my favorites I'm looking forward to dumping is Martha McSally in Arizona.
Martha McSally.
And the reason is because she started off in a very vulnerable position to begin with.
Yes.
She ran for another Senate seat. Mm-hmm. She lost her race. They chose a Democrat, which was the start of the blue in Arizona. Then she turned and the governor appointed her to this Senate seat. So the public rejected her.
Yeah.
She gets appointed anyway. Mm-hmm. She has voted consistently with Trump, and she's trying very hard to distance herself from him without alienating him, as they all are right now.
He's not supporting her candidacy.
And there are some great... astronaut Mark Kelly.
Yeah, is running against her. And you couldn't get a greater American hero from Arizona after John McCain than him. And
so I have a very strong feeling she's going to go bye-bye, which makes me very happy.
And Mark Kelly is he's like the trophy congressman, or trophy senator. If you're going to have a trophy senator, if that's your goal, Arizona, you couldn't get a better one than that.
He's intelligent. He's articulate. He knows
he's
government.
An American hero.
He's worked from all different aspects.
He's an astronaut.
He's great.
And, really a heck of a nice guy. And how about...
Cory Gardner?
Yeah, Cory Gardner.
We all know Cory Gardner is... But there are so many Democrats running.
Yes.
That I would like to say this for most of the states that have multiple Democratic primary challengers.
Yeah.
Any one of those are far and superior to your current sitting senator.
Right.
I mean, it will be... On paper, there is no contest between the quality of experience, personality, proven track records of the Democratic challengers and the Republican incumbent.
You have so many people who are so qualified, almost overqualified for these jobs.
So this is where it's going to come to you. So we know on paper, these folks are far more qualified.
Right.
We know ethically, these folks are more qualified.
Mm-hmm.
We've removed some gerrymandering in some areas. The demographics have shifted. But it's up to us, whether we're in Illinois, which doesn't have a open seat, or or Kentucky, where Mitch McConnell is vulnerable. It's going to be up to us to make sure that message gets out, that we remove them.
Yeah.
What can we do, Heidi?
Well, here's some of the things that you and I have talked about doing. We've donated to campaigns for different challengers because we believe in them. The woman that's
if I may make one note,
Yeah.
I highly recommend if you find a candidate that you believe in,
Yeah.
donate directly to the candidate.
To the candidate.
Don't donate to PACs. There are a lot of them out there,
Yeah.
particularly on the Republican side, that are scams. But also, no offense, DCCC, DNC, but when I donate to them, when they send me these letters, when my senator sends me this letter saying the DCCC needs your help, or the DNC,
They send the money wherever
they want it to go,
not to your candidate specifically. So I donate specifically. I've donated to Mark Kelly. I've donated to
specific
yeah,
candidates.
to specific candidates because I believe in them. And it's very unlikely that I would go to Arizona and knock doors for Mark Kelly. But
I'd go to Kentucky.
I would go. We may end up going to Kentucky
and organizing down in Kentucky.
I'm going.
One of my best friends is moving down there.
Awesome.
In May. I'm like, you better register to vote and vote Mitchell.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I'm going to let you move.
Mitch McConnell has a 28% approval rating.
Right.
So
he has the lowest approval rating of any Congress member.
Senator.
Which is not uncommon for being a majority leader. You
Right.
typically do have a lower approval rating.
Mm-hmm.
But he is not only vulnerable based on his approval rating, the fact that Kentucky turned blue, the fact that the suburbs surrounding Cincinnati have changed their demographic, there's a strong possibility that Kentucky can flip.
If Kentucky turns blue.
Hallelujah.
I just think of all the people, because we've done shows on poverty in Kentucky, specifically around the coal miners. The thing is that the Republicans tell them what they want to hear, but the Democrats do all the work. And
which is why Matt Bevin was elected, not
Right.
to mention that, the former governor, soon-to-be former governor, is a cockroach.
Yes.
But he denied the Medicare expansion, which was free, and the people were mad about that. We talked to so many people when we were down in Kentucky.
Right, and when you have people down in Kentucky that are retired coal miners that are suffering with black lung, their companies have gone bankrupt. They have no benefits left over from their work years, or very few, because a lot of them weren't in the United Mine Workers. They were independent because they were convinced that unions were bad, which is really stupid. But what happened is they've lost their health care. So when Kentucky refused to take Medicaid expansion, all of these people were left and alleged to die a horrible drowning death from black lung disease. And we were literally sending in medical teams that usually go to third world countries to Kentucky, for God's sake, and West Virginia, because the Republicans are not looking out for you people that live there. So you need to make sure that you bring in people that care about you and care about your health care and want to end poverty in your communities.
So when people start voting in their best interest as opposed to against their interest, we're going to start to see more of this. I've got another tip. So we talked, find a candidate that you love.
Yes.
Right? Find someone that's important to you, whether it's Mark Kelly.
Yes.
Or it is your local
county clerk.
Yeah. Okay, pay attention to your county races.
Mm-hmm.
You may not really think about it because we're thinking about national, or you're more interested in state, but those county rules are extremely important. It's imperative that we really focus on those. The county clerk is the one that sets
the voting
standard. I will tell you, we had a clerk. She was a Republican clerk. She was clerk for 30 years. Nobody really thought that she did a bad job. There were things that could have been better. Mm-hmm. We elected a Democratic clerk in Will County. The first time we have ever had, in 80 years, we've had a Democratic clerk in Will County.
Wow.
And since she has been elected, which she's almost a full year in office, she has changed. She's added 15 early voting sites.
Wow.
These are places that we couldn't get early voting.
Right.
You had to go to 2 spots in the county in order to early vote.
Your county that she lives in is huge.
It is very big. So it's very easy to disenfranchise voters. Mm-hmm. In the 2018 election, we had a huge turnout in a predominantly African-American area of Will County because we'd done a lot of work and we had some great candidates that really connected to those communities.
Right.
And during early voting,
yes,
they turned people away. They shut down the doors. They closed the polling place
Oh.
because, one, they were overstaffed. People were waiting in line for hours to vote because the machines weren't working. It was a huge deal.
That's terrible.
And accidents can happen. Chaos happens. A judge doesn't show up, but that gets fixed and taken care of. The systematic disenfranchisement, which is really easy to do.
Yes.
Not handicap accessible places.
Yep.
So it's so easy to do it. It's wonderful to have a clerk. So look at your local races.
We have a clerk in a county adjacent to mine that decided, and we live in Illinois, and in Illinois you do not have to show an ID to vote. Your voting right is protected that way. And in Kendall County, Illinois, and she did end up winning again. She wanted everybody, all the people at the polling places, to ask for an ID. Well, that is illegal in Illinois. That's not part of what we do. But
we will do a show. I think that's a great idea, Heidi, to do a show on how to help out an election. What can you do on election day between being an election judge?
Yes, and they pay you for that.
Yes, they do. To being a poll watcher.
Yeah.
To being a sign guy, whatever the case may be, there are some amazing things that we can do.
You know, when I was running for office, God bless my sign guy, which happened to be my husband, but he set up signs not only for my campaign, but also for everybody's campaign. That's, I think we've talked about this before. When I ran for office, we helped everybody. So if they needed help getting signs out, getting petitions done, getting walklet done, we helped them, and including putting signs up.
So find your candidate, whether it's Elizabeth Warren, Andrew Yang, or, your local county clerk. Find someone you believe in. Donate directly to their campaign.
Yeah.
If you can, send postcards, write letters, volunteer.
We're going to talk about volunteering in our next section here.
Walk for the person.
So, and that's where volunteering comes up. I'm a member of 2 indivisible chapters near me. Plus, I go to every Democratic meeting within an hour drive of where I live. So I'll make 5-6 meetings a month. And I've done that since 2016 because I wanted to learn the process to change the environment that we're in. I used to go just to my counties. Now I go to other surrounding counties.
Absolutely. And Heidi and I go all over
the place. So, but those are the commitments that I make. And I ask you to commit to going to at least 1 meeting a month. So 12 days out of the year, you have something that you got to do, and you're going to meet like-minded people.
Heidi makes an amazing point here. And the biggest thing I think that she just nailed is saying go to a meeting. It's easy to get in your own world on Twitter or Facebook with same-minded people, joining groups that are local groups that you communicate with online.
Yeah.
But if you can get to one of those meetings, I'm sure you're in a Moms Demand Action or an Action for Tomorrow or
Sierra Club.
Progressives or Sierra Club. Whatever it is, you have these great connections online. Take those in person because you'll be amazed at the energy that you get.
Oh my gosh.
And the things that can be accomplished when you even have that human connection.
And then you have a buddy to do stuff with.
Yes, because it's easy to go, oh, I might go. But when you know someone face to face, it changes it. So
it does.
Volunteer. Go to a meeting. Find your local meetings, whatever your interest is.
Right, whatever your interest is.
Volunteer.
It's so important to help man the booth at the county fair, to help man the booth at the Earth Day celebration.
Festivals.
Yeah, and walk up and down the street during festivals and pass out stickers.
Attend fundraisers.
Yeah.
One thing that we do for...
we love going to fundraisers.
Fundraisers are amazing for several reasons.
Yeah.
It seems incredibly awkward, and I get socially uncomfortable in party type.
Believe it or not, I do too. And I know you always
totally
don't
I know.
think I do, but I'm
really truly a hermit. Like if I could stay in my house in the basement for the rest of my life, I would. Not in the basement.
I'll have a minute where I'll walk into a very crowded fundraiser and go, oh my God, I don't know anybody here. And then I take a deep breath and realize that everybody's here for the same reason, and we all have at least one thing in common. So go in with a smile on your face and your hand out to shake hands.
And you can start off at different fundraisers. You can start off you don't have to start off at a gala or a big event. Go to your local laborers fish fry that they have.
Yes.
Every
those are
3
so
months.
awesome.
Because your money it's not very expensive. And it goes toward helping union causes, and
I don't have to do dishes afterwards.
you
That's
don't
my
do
favorite.
dishes, and you get to meet so many people, and it's a casual environment.
Yeah.
I'm a part of
Blue
an
jeans,
organization,
t-shirts, shorts.
IDWOW, Illinois Democratic Women of Will. I'm
Right.
on the board, and we did a trivia night. We've done fundraisers where we have a brunch and things.
Yeah.
But the trivia night was so
trivia night.
popular. We're doing it again this year.
Yay!
In March.
Yeah.
And it was so popular and so much fun, and we got so
Just a
many
blast.
people engaged. So go to those organizations' fundraisers, candidates' fundraisers.
I went to a quarter auction for one candidate a few weeks ago, and it was a lot of fun. I'd never been to a quarter auction before. I went to a card. What were they playing? Euchre. I don't know how to play euchre, but I went anyway, and somebody let me play at their table and taught me how to play euchre while we were going. It was really great. So
if you don't have business cards, for some reason you are personally object to business cards, or and a lot of people don't, because you can just use your phone and exchange information.
Yeah.
But you can have them made, with your name, your email, your phone number, whatever, and it's so easy to be able, when you meet people, to exchange that way.
We connect with people like that all the time. So volunteer. And here moving on to the next section. In the primary season, you're going to pick a candidate that you love. You love Cory Booker. Yeah, and who doesn't? He's a real handsome guy.
She's got a thing for Cory Booker. I'm just saying.
He's tall and handsome, man, baby.
And
anyway,
I'd like to apologize for those of you watching. I'm twitching and flipping because we've repositioned the mic. Apparently, my voice was fading in and out. And now I feel like I'm licking the mic.
and see,
an
mine
ice cream cone. So it's taking me a while to get used to it. I'm so sorry. And now I'm taking my sweater off. Good God, I'm like all over the place today.
Well, it's just how it is. But what I'm going to say you're a total Andrew Yang guy, and he doesn't primary through, and we love Andrew Yang too, right? Because he's pretty amazing.
I love Andrew Yang.
So, or you're a big Bernie supporter, and Bernie doesn't primary through, because we don't really know who's going to primary through. Instead of saying, oh, well, because my candidate, Marianne Williamson, did not primary through, I'm not voting this year. This is not the year to do that. 2020 is the year to get behind whoever primaries through.
Should have showed us that.
Yes, and here's the reason why. We have some really key issues here. Healthcare. I don't care which Democratic candidate wins the election, we will have health care. If Trump wins again and everything goes for his way in the Supreme Court, we will lose health care in the millions. Tens of millions of people
That's not
lose
even
health care.
the beginning of what we'll lose. But I would like to jump back real quick.
Yeah.
If you were a Bernie bro and you were a progressive and you're listening to us and you're a Bernie fan now or you're not, but you happen to run into some Yang Gang fans, please reach out to them and let them know, even if he doesn't win, there is a hope forward. Look at Bernie. Look at the activism. It doesn't always happen. If you've been down this road before, reach out to those folks who haven't. This is for any supporter.
Yeah.
If you've been through a primary and you were really active and your person didn't win, and then, you gave up, just reach out and say, hey, it's not over. There's always more chance. There's always a future.
Murray and I have voted in enough elections that we've had to hold our nose in the general and vote. It's like, oh, do I really have to vote for this person? Yes. Yes, you do.
Vote.
Vote.
All the way down the line.
All the way down. Turn your ballot over. Vote on the backside, too. Vote on the referendums. In Illinois, we have fair tax coming up this fall. Vote, yes, on fair tax. It's going to save our school system. But here's really something I wanted to talk about, because you talked about a little bit about the Bernie Bros. Murray and I are going to be on the Ben Jarofsky show January 3rd. I don't know when you're listening to this, but we will be on his podcast January 3rd. And one of the questions he has for us is, how do you deal with the Bernie Bros? Because we deal with them every day. And it's not that I disagree with Bernie, because I agree with him on point for point for point. Sometimes his supporters are just a little, they're a lot. So They're a lot more than Bernie, So he wants us to discuss that question. I just dropped that bomb on Marie. Marie's like, how am I going to talk about that? Because
I would like to
we
say,
support all the candidates except for Gabbard.
Yeah. Heidi is, and Williamson, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. And Bloomberg, I can't do that.
Well,
no, all three
okay.
of them
If
need to go.
one
if they came through, we would.
Yeah.
But still. Okay, so you had said volunteer, go meet people, go find people.
Meet
and you
them.
said we're going to be on Ben Jarofsky, January 3rd, 2020. Today is December 30th, 2019. So if you're listening to this before your New Year's Eve party, please talk to your friends at the party. Mm-hmm. You don't have to tell them that you're a Democrat, although most of them probably know, or you're a Republican. Don't talk politics. All I'm asking you to do is to ask them if they're registered to vote.
Right.
It doesn't matter, because if they're registered to vote, then we can get them. But ask them if they're registered to vote. And if they're like, I don't know, there's this beautiful, amazing website that you can do that on your phone, on a laptop, whatever. It's vote.org.
O-R-G. So vote.org. I used it when I ran for office. I registered over 40 people at their front door, in their grocery store. I guess I will talk to anybody about anything.
I am leaving to go to Florida today, and I'm going to be with all these Florida people.
Well, vote.org works in any state.
So if you're visiting friends, make sure they're registered to vote. Who knows?
In any
it could
state.
Be one of those pivotal
in Puerto
states.
Rico, in Guam. It will work in the Virgin Islands. It'll work everywhere. So you need to just do it.
Yes.
So,
and this is, for those of us listening, next year is pivotal for women and the right to vote. It's a 100-year anniversary. We've only been able to vote for 100 years. So this is an honorum to all of those women
your
who
mother,
have fought
your
to
sister,
get that right to
your
vote.
daughter, your aunt.
Ask others to vote. All you have to do is pull it up on your phone and go, hey, just fill this out. It literally takes 2 minutes.
They have to fill it out on their phone. That is really important to know. Is when you do the vote.org, have them pull it up on their phone. It takes 2 minutes on their phone. If there's somebody you're chatting to online, have them pull it up on their desktop or tablet and have them register to vote. The other thing with vote.org that is so wonderful is you can find out all the legislative stuff that's going on in your state. So you can keep track of what your state legislature is doing, what your governor is doing, what bills have been signed, what bills have been fought, what bills have been cast away. And it helps you keep them accountable for what they're doing. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite ways to watch my state representative, who is a Dino Democrat. I'm never going to let that go.
So next year, 100 years, women have had the right to vote. Honor that right by registering 5 people. And this can be high school kids, college kids, adults. Just ask, are you registered to vote?
Make sure your college kids
5 will make a huge difference.
Make sure your college kids that are off at school, and one of my kids went away to school, the other one stayed local. Make sure that they vote by mail. Make sure that they vote early if they're home for Indigenous Peoples Day or whatever they call Columbus Day now. Make sure if they're home for something that they come home and vote. Take them down. Make it a celebration that day. Absentee ballot, so important. But when my son came home from Carbondale, Illinois, we would go to early voting. Then we would go have a really fabulous lunch at his favorite place in town.
Great way to have some mom-son time.
Oh, yes.
Father-daughter, daughter-son, father-father.
Now he just re-registered where he lives, and I'm so excited because he gets to vote for one of my friends.
So, folks, there's a lot of things we have coming up. We really want to keep our eye on the Senate. Mm-hmm. And in our opinion, getting involved is the most important thing we can do going forward into 2020.
And I want to tell you something else that you need to know. That we have in Illinois one of the most amazing senators that's ever graced our Congress, and that is Dick Durbin. He is an amazing man. And if we win back the Senate majority, guess who is
Holy Mary, Mother
Senate,
of Pearl. That'll be beautiful.
It's the Senate majority leader will be Dick Durbin, and I'm telling you,
you want him.
Shit will get done.
Well, Happy New Year. Ring in 2020.
If you're in Illinois,
with weed.
If you're in Illinois, make sure that you take that weed home, get yourself settled someplace, and don't drive for 4 hours after you imbibe. Because we do have swabs. And if the police pull you over and they swab you and they find out you've used it within 4 hours, you're going to get a DUI.
Oh, very good.
Something I found out yesterday. So.
Wow. Okay, I think they can still fight that, but.
Yeah, well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. And I think we'd like to say Happy New Year. 2020 is going to kick tush. And the most important thing that you can do next year is to subscribe to us, to follow us, to share us. We give you 30 minutes and wrap everything up with a bow.
Yeah.
We love you. We want to come out and meet you and expand what we do. So please, if you do nothing else, like, subscribe, and share to Heartland Mamas.
MAMAS.com.
Have a wonderful New Year, guys.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.